I wanted to give you guys some clarification on why some people are healthier than others. So let me just give you a quick thing. Look, they used to burn coal in people's houses for heat in the winter, and coal produces mercury. And so back then, whatever amount of years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, I don't know, 80 years ago, if you lived in the city, you were being constantly poisoned with mercury. And so what does it come down to? How many generations has your family lived in a city? That's like the number one factor in determining your health. Like a lot of us, our grandparents were farmers, or at least our great grandparents were farmers. If your parents lived in a city and your grandparents lived in a city and the great grandparents lived in a city, it's likely that you guys might not have the best health because, you know, it's deterioration of the health over generations. You know, it's mainly maternal from the woman's body. So the grandma, she lived in pollution. She had a kid. That kid lived in pollution. She had your mom, and then your mom had you, right? So what does it come down to? How many generations of vaccines have there been? How much processed food? And have they been living in the city with the pollution? That's what it comes down to. You know, let's say we got person A and person B. Person A, their grandparents were farmers and they lived organic. Their parents got all the vaccines and lived in the city. And then they have you, and then you eat a bunch of junk food. But you're healthy as fuck. Now we get this other guy who's like his bloodline has been living in the city since his great grandparents. So like he grew up in the city, his parents grew up in the city, his grandparents and his great grandparents. And each generation immediately got in the vaccines. You know, they were right on it right away. And so, yeah, that kid's going to be, you know, have health issues because he has the 4 generations to work against, right? 3-4 generations. So it's like, how long has your bloodline been living in a city because they're poisoned by mercury from the coal burning or anything else? Or if they lived in the city, they're more likely to be exposed to propaganda, more likely to have processed foods and chemicals and all that other stuff. If you're living in nature on a farm, you have fresh food, you're less likely to be subjected to the vaccines, and you're going to be around less pollution. So what does it come down to? Your family. So why do I eat healthy, but the person eats junk food and they're healthier than me? It's because your family. It's your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, etc., etc. So when it comes down to genetics, your genetics become damaged as a result of toxins and deficiencies. It's not just some random thing. If your bloodline ate perfect in nature, there'd be no such thing as like bad genetics. Something poisoned the body, which caused the genetics to change. And it may take a generation or 2 to heal, but you can still work to have wonderful health. But here's the thing. Forget about genetics. Let's pretend genetics don't exist or that genetics can change. Let's say you have terrible genetics and you're in shit health right now. You did the primal diet perfect in 10 years, you're going to be outperforming normies. Right? So why do people eat junk food? Why are there people who eat junk food sorry, not thinking clearly. Why are there people eating junk food being healthier than people who are eating healthy? Because the bloodline, the health of the bloodline over the generations. So I just wanted to share this point. People burnt coal. That's a huge... Okay, if you lived in a city 100, 150 years ago where every single house is burning coal, like, you're probably getting a vaccine worth of mercury every 6 months, right? So that's like really fucked, insanely fucked, right? So people never consider this point. People burn coal, tons of mercury in the air. And so I just want to give you this little thing to think about.